Hello. So I'm not even going to pretend like I'm ready for this because I'm not. So you're going to get a stream of consciousness, whoever you are. And because you're getting a stream of consciousness, and I only have this tiny little piece of paper, and I was going to use a pen, you can't even see the lines because it's so bright. Um, oh, wait. Hey, Siri, turn lamp brightness to 45%.
Okay.
There you
I
go.
set the lamp to 45%.
I remembered that from Scorpio, maybe? Maybe it was Capricorn. Or Libra. It was either Libra or Scorpio. I think it was Scorpio. Maybe it wasn't. I hope you're Pisces. And I was gonna use a pen, but when I was moving the webcam cord out of the frame, I just pushed the pen right off the table and I can't find it. So there's something about it's almost like writing something in sand. And this is all the paper I get. So, hey Siri, choose a random number between 1 and 12.
A random number between 1 and 12 is 6.
6? Virgo! Yeah! I was like, I hope it's not Virgo. I was really hoping it would be Pisces. Hey, I can read this though. Virgo. Virgo, this is interesting. So, for Virgo, it's something about writing things in sand. And I say it's interesting for Virgo because you're mutable earth. And I don't think we typically view earth as a mutable element. But there's something muddy or sandy about Virgo in that it can be molded. So, Virgo, it feels like you're coming into an architect or an architectural sort of energy. You're coming into a space where you're going to be able to more create your life. And it feels like it's not that there isn't magic, but it feels like for you, Virgo, it's sort of things that make sense, or it's things that you already know. Now, you may have to combine things in certain ways and have to have a lot of trust and a lot of faith to move forward, right? But it feels like it's like a practical magic. And that it's like it arises from and it's not like the extremely apparent, but it's like it's magic that makes sense. Right. Like alchemy being chemistry, right? Rubato just popped into my mind. And I know Rubius is red. Rubato is one of the alchemical processes. I'm actually going to look this up. I get to Google since this is stream of consciousness. But it's like, when alchemy, Rubato means redness. That was adopted by alchemists to define the fourth and final major stage in their magnum opus. Both gold and the philosopher's stone were associated with the color red, as Rubato signaled alchemical success and the end of the great work. What? I'll try to put that in here. Alchem success. Might as well write a call. Alchemical success. I love that. That's why you're coming into an energy of being able to write in the sand. That's why you only need like this fragment of a piece of paper that I tore up and that I tore off. Right, I ripped it out of the book and this is what was left inside the book and I tore it out and then I was looking at it and I was like, this is what I'm using for Virgo. Not for Virgo, but this is what I'm using for whatever. And at first I was just going to have it to like write or jot something down, I guess. But I was like, okay, we're just going to do this stream of consciousness. I think there's also, Virgo, something about resting into the subconscious mind. It's not that you're allowing the subconscious mind to take over, because like your conscious intention needs to be present here. and attention. But it's like the subconscious mind doesn't have like all of the anxieties, I guess, or as much of the anxieties as the conscious mind does. And it's reminding me of that lightning bolt rune from the rune maker. Oh gosh, that is just so my experience. One second, Virgo, I'm sorry. You might get a message from somebody. That noise, I had that ringtone specifically for one of my friends, and he is moving to the UK. Hey Siri. Well, never mind. It's literally right here. He's moving, and I want to know if he made it all right. Oh my gosh. He made it! Woo! So even with him, if this is Rubato, the end of a great work, I wouldn't necessarily say, well, I wouldn't say it wasn't a great work. Because with him, it's like he was here for a certain period of time, and then he moved on. And he wanted to stay, but fate would have him. Speaking of Virgo, fate would have him move on. And just as his time here was coming to a close, there were other events that transpired that made other paths more favorable. It's like you want to stay where you are, but then you're sort of like you start planning what your next move might be, right? If you can't stay where you are, and then circumstances happen in a way that when whatever your original plan was doesn't work out, the backup option is more favorable anyway. And so in this alchemical success, it doesn't feel like it's the entirety of the work, but it is a phase. This is a multi-step process, which is why you're writing in sand, right? It's like if I only had this piece of paper, and that's why I'm using a pencil because I can erase. Now, there's not much of an eraser on this pencil. And, hold up. There's not much of an eraser on this pencil, and I don't even know how well it would erase because this pencil is at least a good decade old. But the thing about a pencil is like its ink won't dry up. So it'll always work. It doesn't matter how long you leave a pencil sitting, it'll always write. And a pen isn't necessarily the same. A pen has more permanence, but in that, it's like it might dry up. I'll do it tiny. I'm not trying to put this on anybody. I'm not trying to put this on anybody. My experience with this rune, and I messed it up. It looks like K or something, and katakana, but K is like, is that K? I think that's K. Maybe, maybe not. And katakana is it's Japanese writing system, but it's a Japanese, like when you use katakana, it implies that the word is foreign. It's like you use the hiragana for like Japanese words and kanji when you can, right? But the katakana is for foreign words. And my American centric worldview, whenever I come across a word in katakana, I automatically assume it's like derived from English. But English in and of itself is derived from many languages. And I think one of the ones that immediately comes to mind is like Arubaito. Maybe? I don't think Arubaito was written in katakana though, but it was like, it was a word that was based in German. Because I was looking at the word, I'm like, I don't know what this is. Let's see, Arubaito. Yeah, Arubaito is. No, 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 no. Hold up, let's see. What does Arubaito mean? Arubaito is a Japanese loan word from Arbiter and perhaps from Arbeit, work, as German, along with English, was used in Japanese universities before World War II, especially for science and medicine. Arubaito became common among students to describe part-time work for university students. So here again, it's the work. So this is part-time work. And I feel like that part-time work, so there's also there's like a graduation energy here, Virgo. Right? Because Rubato is the great work. Arubaito is part-time work. But it did feel like it wasn't like the entirety of the work, this alchemical success. So it feels like a minor work that assists the greater work, or a great work that assists a greater work. And that's the thing about writing in the sand, right? And before, it's stream of consciousness, so I'm not going to feel as bad about being distracted. um, but the thing about writing with a pencil is like I only have a limited amount of space. The thing about writing in the sand is you only have a limited amount of space. But because it's impermanent, it allows you to erase, right? So if I have a really, really long problem, I can solve it in parts. I can keep the answer from one part and erase the rest to free up space. So there's an energy, it's like breaking it into parts, accomplishing part by part. And it's an energy that honestly, it feels like, taking the lesson forward, but leaving the pain and the trauma in the past. That way you keep the knowing, but you free yourself up from everything else. Because I was talking to one of my friends about how sometimes, like, if someone in my personal life is going through something, then I take a part of it on myself. And in that, there's less of me available for everything else. Just like if I were going through something personally myself, there would be less of me available to other things. And there's a little bit of that energy here, like that which takes up space. But some of it can be freed. So Arubaito was it? I was looking at Arubaito and I'm like, this is supposed to be part-time work. I can't think of a single English word. Arbiter. What does arbiter mean? We're gonna have to look that up too. I can't think of a single English word where this would be like part-time work. But again, it's like it goes back to an assumption. It's like there are more things outside, right? Because like technically there's a whole page. There is a whole page of this that you don't even see. You don't even know what I was doing with the rest of this page. You don't even know why I tore this page out of the journal. And I'm not the type of person that tears pages out of things all willy nilly. I don't tear pages out of stuff, or I try not to tear pages out of stuff. I don't write on or in anything that is already written on or in. I don't fold corners in books. But I tore this page out and I used it for something that you don't know. And it's nothing sinister, right? It's just not your business. But again, it's like that energy is sort of carrying through. And I think a lot of times when we hear of something that's written in sand and in that impermanence, it's like, well, the tide is going to come and wash it away. But it feels like some things are meant to be washed away. Because if it weren't, then your beach would be full with words from, it's like your beach would be full by the time you're like 3. And then you still have however long you have left. And so I wouldn't say that this is an energy of seasons or cycles because it doesn't really feel like that. Arbiter. Arbiter is a person who settles a dispute or has ultimate authority in a matter. A person who settles a dispute and has ultimate authority. And there was an energy with that writing in the sand, like of manifestation, right? So this is an energy too of like coming into your power. But again, it's like with this Arubaito part-time work and the Rubato alchemical success, it feels like whatever this is, it's going to be related to things you already know. That's why it's like a practical magic. Like, I don't think, it doesn't feel like to me that this is something that's completely like new or out of left field. It feels like you've been given many, many keys. And you're just going to, or runes. It's like you've been given many runes that you kind of sort of know how they work independent of each other. But now you're coming into a space where you're weaving them together. And while you're weaving them together, you're writing in the sand because when you're in a space of exploration, you don't necessarily want to make something permanent. If you make it permanent too quickly, then it limits your ability to sort of like go forward. Right? Because now it's, again, it's like, if you put yourself in a space of totality before you know everything, now you're not open to knowing more. But at the same time, it's like if you put yourself in a space of knowing nothing, then there's nothing for you to build off of because it feels like it's building off of your knowing. And I think this Arbiter, not only is it you coming into your power, but it's like you holding a presence in your own life. Like Virgo Pisces is an axis of servitude. We love to help and be there for others. And it's like it's partly we need to help and be there for ourselves, but it runs deeper than that. Because it almost feels like there are gifts and abilities that we can use for others that we can't use for ourselves, or that it's a lot more difficult to use for yourself. And in that, I don't know if it's a counsel, but it feels like there are other energies that you can pull in to help you do that. And it's this Rubato Arbiter. It's like if there's a catalyst, it's a catalytic energy. There's a hidden catalytic energy here. And that's the number 3. So I'm just going to write 333 next to Arbiter. Actually, I'm going to write 3333 because 3333 is the way, it's a pathway. 3333 is Wea. And 3 3s in Cindy math is a 3. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 12, which reduces to a 3. So it gives you the same thing. So in that, your great work, Virgo, it's to find so many pieces of you. This is that fractal energy. I was trying to look up an old English word for fractal earlier to see if it would fit this rune. um, but it's like you find more and more and more pieces of yourself. But it's like within the first 3 out of 4 pieces, so it's like for 75% of the way, it feels like you may be becoming someone else. But when you get that fourth piece, it's like you return to self. And I was thinking about that earlier, about how, like, why maybe some energies just kind of sort of come to me. And maybe it's because, like, I know who I am. I'm someone who's not going to be changed by the presence of a greater energy. And so greater energies can approach me without sort of fearing of violating my free will and my choice. Greater energies can approach me and I still have a conversation with them rather than submitting to them. And it's not that submission is bad, but you need to be present in the situation as well. And this is that, oh, Quirth. And it was this. Yeah, shout out to Miss Remy Healings and the Rome team. This is that Quirth. It's because it's like you're combining their knowledge with yours. And again, it goes back to this alchemical process. It goes back to the catalyst. Quirth is the catalyst that awakens something within you. And when Reem was talking about it, it was feeling like this energy that, again, almost like this one, it's like it's about energizing or bringing energy to dried up channels. And that's another thing with this rune. It feels like it digs deeper the well of the, oh my gosh, the well of the subconscious. 1 second. I need to write that down. Oh wait, I already wrote it down. Connecting your well to Mimir's. I already wrote it. Hello, 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 hello. Okay. Maybe I'm getting there. It's starting to take me back to the same energy. Maybe I'm starting to get it now rather than it continuously evolving into something new. And that's the energy. Again, it's writing in the sand. I've been writing in the sand with this room because it reveals more and more. And it's like moving forward. It's like watching a professor try to solve a longer problem on a whiteboard. And it's like, oh, I need more space, so I got to erase this part. I need more space, so I got to erase this. I don't know if you've ever had that experience. But it's like when they erase selectively instead of erasing everything because they need to hold on to the results that they already have. And it's interesting because when this first came out, it felt like a single result, like not a collection of results. It's like you get one thing. And that's the thing about an alchemical work. It's carried out in a series of steps. And there are different processes and different kinds of reactions that take you from step to step. It's not necessarily something that's done all at once. Which is why it's like you go from Arubaito, like from part-time work, to like the great work. There's also an energy of learning here, which I might have touched on. But it's like Arubaito was specifically for university students. So while you are primarily learning, there's something on the side that you're doing that's getting like you're earning. You're learning and earning at the same time. But eventually, you're going to stop learning and you're going to be purely earning. Eventually, you'll go like full time because you're not going to school anymore. And it's not that you stop learning, but it's that like you leave this university or this phase of the university, right? You can always further your education, but eventually you complete this. And like Virgo, you're hiding, not hiding, but there's some like powerhouse energy behind Virgo. Virgo, you've been surprising me for a few months now. I think it was last year. It was like you were sitting in a space of an almost Piscean flow. But before, it's like when you would pick up momentum, you would stop or slow down. And so it's like, it's a little bit of an evil Knievel energy. But you weren't going like full evil Knievel. It's like there's this grand work, I guess, this magnum opus. But every time you're about to like leave the ramp, it's like you would stop and you would freak out and stop right before you hit the ramp. And it's like you're supposed to pick up in momentum when you're about to hit the ramp. Otherwise, you're just gonna immediately just like tip over. But there's something within you, Virgo, that's, I want to say it's changing and evolving and strengthening. My left ear just started ringing. And it's fairly high pitched. It's not extremely intense. It's like it came in and it's slowly fading out. And even though my ear still isn't ringing, I remember the pitch and the frequency and the tone. And so if I so choose, it's almost like I can continue to hear the ringing. And that's another thing about this energy, is that it's not permanent. It's an energy that comes in to inspire, but it's like, what do you do with it? And maybe that's also something for you, especially with this life force energy here. It's like there is an energy where it's like, if you get enough of these hits, eventually it will completely charge the battery. But it's almost like, when you're trying to, I don't know anything about cars, but I'm going to preface this by saying that. But it's like when your battery dies and like you get a jump and then like you start driving the car, you start moving, the energy of momentum will sustain it. I'm going to write that. Momentum will sustain it. We don't have to fill the entirety of the paper, Virgo. Actually, we're not. I'm going to shade this in right now. And this means something. Because Ran is going to come in and help you tap to everything that lies below this. Ran is going to come in and like, it's like she almost like tries to find a vein, and then she like punctures it, and then what lies below bubbles up to the surface. That's also this energy, or it was a part of this energy for me. Like where the soul bubbles up to the surface of the subconscious and then even further to the conscious. This is powerful energy, Virgo. And it feels like you, because again, it's like after all of this, you come back to yourself. But it's like when you get there, you'll realize that it's who you are and who you have been the whole time. But before then, it's like it feels like you're becoming something new or something different. And it's like you are. But again, when you get there, you'll realize that it was who you were the whole time. It's like a hero's journey, right? Like the Wizard of Oz. She gets the slippers as soon as she lands in Oz, basically. But she has to go on the entirety of the journey to go home. discovering that basically what she landed with was her ticket to get home anyway. You're becoming more of who you really are. And it's gorgeous, it's beautiful. And this is a lot of like catalytic events, and catalytic events can be catastrophic events sometimes, because sometimes those are the greatest things that inspire a change within us. I don't know why I want to just keep tracing this, but all right, Virgo, that's what I got for you. Again, like the rest is yours to unfold. Know that I feel like it's important to mention that there will be at least a few stages to this for you. But it's like when you complete a part, it's done. Healing is something that we constantly do. Are we ever completely healed? No. But we don't have to hold on to the knowing that we're never completely healed in a way that we're constantly trying to find things to heal. Because if that's the case, we never move forward. We never exit that phase of the work. And it's like you are completing minor works or great works that will lead you to greater works. It's for you to take what you learn at the end and then to erase the rest and move forward. Take that knowing forward. Go into the next step, the next phase, right? That's what I got. I'm going to take a picture of this and use it as your thumbnail. All right, Virgo, I hope you have a good whatever whenever you see this, and I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. And I hope that, you become the great you that you are. There's a lot. I feel like people can see it with Pisces. But with Virgo, it's like, it's just as deep. It just isn't. It's like, it can be discounted sometimes because it's on the material plane, right? And since we live in the material plane, we may think that it's quite mundane and that, the ethers and the astrals are more spectacular. But there's like so much magic here that we don't even understand. Like, how does a soul come into a lump of clay and animate it, right? For starters. Like, there are many, many, many things, many, many, many magics that are already here. And in that, Virgo, it also feels like there have been things that it's like there have been things that you've been acquiring in each phase. Each great work, or the greatest work, is composed of many greater works. Greater works composed of many great works. Great works composed of, like, minor works and lesser works. But it all plays a part. And I feel like if I said any more, it would just be circular. Like, maybe it would reinforce it, but I guess just keep this in mind as you move forward. So, I don't know why I want to say wassail. It's the runes. The runes are working their magic on me. All right, I'll catch you later, Virgo.